Minister Louis Farrakhan. Minister Louis Farrakhan was a man, a teacher, a believer, a politician, and especially a believer. He was a man who thought that everyone thinks this and everyone should have a voice. No matter what you believe in, you should be heard. Louis Farrakhan, born Louis Eugene Wildcat, was a modest man. A man who had a modest beginning. He was born on May 11, 1933, in Bronx, New York. He was reared in a highly disciplined and spiritual household in Roxbury, Massachusetts. This is where he began to feel as though he was destined to be a preacher. In 1955, his friend Rodney Smith introduced him to the Nation of Islam's doctrine, and he attended the annual Savior's Day address by Elijah Muhammad. He joined the Nation of Islam in July of 1955, becoming Louis X. The X was a placeholder following the dropping of the slave name, referring to the loss of the unknown surname of the slave's forefathers. Hearing the Islamic name, some nation members are given later in their conversion. In 1977, the structure of the Nation of Islam began to dismantle from the actions of Wars seen Muhammad. Farrakhan walked away. Later, Farrakhan and a small number of supporters privately decided to rebuild the original Nation of Islam, the foundation established by Wallace Farrakhan Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad. Louis Farrakhan started to be very unspoken, a voice that needs to be heard.
I'm hanging on a cross right now. I'm on Calvary right now. And I'm ready to go all the way. Because I know that by my stripes, every one of you will be healed. You don't have to look anywhere for your Jesus. I represent him.
We would be remiss and considered ungrateful if we did not thank Allah for raising from the midst of us not one, but two Messiahs. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Louis Farrakhan.
What message from Mr. Farrakhan?
That 75% of what you read in the Bible referring to Jesus is referring to a future man. And 25% of what you read is referring to the man of 2,000 years ago who is considered a type. A type is like a sign of the real. But the real question is, who is Jesus? If the scholars agree that the Jesus of 2,000 years ago prefigured or gave us a picture of the real Jesus, then the historical Jesus is not the real Jesus, but the real Jesus is the one that the historical Jesus prefigures or gives us a type of. The historical Jesus was not the Messiah. The prophetic Jesus is the Messiah. The historical Jesus prefigured the Messiah. And that's why the Jews have never accepted the historical Jesus. They continue to look for the Messiah. They are not wrong. He wasn't born in Bethlehem of Judea. He was born in Sandersville, Georgia. When you close the Old Testament, you open the New Testament with the genealogy of Jesus. But the Old Testament closes saying Elijah's coming. God, my God, is coming. Then you open up with the genealogy of Jesus. So who is Jesus? Who is Elijah? Jesus and Elijah one and the same. I am that Elijah.
Farrakhan began to get a lot of attention, especially when he was helping Jesse Jackson campaign in Arizona. That wasn't until people found out he was anti-Semitic and kind of a bigot. He realized then that his words were affecting people around him, and thus forth he began organizing the Million Man March. The Million Man March was held on October 15, 1995. It brought out over 2 million African American women and men of other races. It was held in Washington, D.C. But even the people he supported did not win his support. This is exactly what happened when Barack Obama was running for president. As soon as Louis Farrakhan expressed his support for Barack Obama responded by saying he wanted to distance himself from Louis Farrakhan because he knew being put in a category with him would eventually, in the end, hurt his campaign.
On Sunday, the headline in your hometown paper, Chicago Tribune, Louis Farrakhan backs Obama for president at Nation of Islam convention in Chicago. Do you accept the support of Louis Farrakhan?
You know, I have been very clear in my denunciation of Minister Farrakhan's anti-Semitic comments. I think they are unacceptable and reprehensible. I did not solicit this support. He expressed pride in an African American who seems to be bringing the country together. I obviously can't censor him, but it is not support that I sought, and we're not doing anything, I assure you, formally or informally with Minister Farrakhan.
Do you reject his support?
Well, Tim, I can't say to somebody that he can't say that he thinks I'm a good guy. I have been very clear in my denunciations of him and his past statements, and I think that indicates to the American people what my stance is on those comments.
The problem some voters may have is, as you know, Reverend Farrakhan called Judaism gutter religion.
I think I am very familiar with his record, as are the American people. That's why I have consistently denounced it. This is not something new. This is something that I live in Chicago. He lives in Chicago. I've been very clear in terms of me believing that what he has said is reprehensible and inappropriate, and I have consistently distanced myself from him.